You're listening to the Reluctant Adult Podcast. If you like what you're hearing, follow us on social media and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This is the way.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million.
Oh, this week from the internet. Somebody check Hasbro's pulse. The toy giant has a big problem, and unlike our bank balance, it's not getting any smaller. Plus, Fwoosh goes the dynamite. The internet toy resource loses its identity. And Super 7 knocks it out of the park with their Power Rangers Ultimates Dino Megazord. Remember, as far as anyone knows, we're a nice, normal family. It's the Reluctant Adult Podcast.
Don't you be a dummy! Buckle your safety belt!
Think, Billy. It's morphin' time!
Welcome to another episode of the Reluctant Adult Podcast. My name is Paul, and I am joined, as always, by the man who hopes there's a Hasbro PulseCon for us to host next year, Bill.
Hi, everyone. Even if there isn't, we're still going to do it anyway.
We're just gonna break into the abandoned offices in Pawtucket and turn on the lights. Isn't that the plot to that movie based on the Spirit Halloween, where they break in?
They break into a spirit. Maybe
starring Christopher Lloyd.
I never saw it, even though they made it available.
Yeah, right. It was in theaters, I think, for a minute, but then I don't think it ever was on streaming. Maybe it's on one of those free Voodoo, or whatever they call it, Tubi. Yeah. So, top story this week: toys are in trouble a little bit. So, if you know anything about toys, you know there are a couple of big dogs in the toy industry. You have Mattel, who has just floated by on Barbie and Hot Wheels for the majority of their tenure, and then they have He-Man and little things they do WWE now, but then Hasbro does 75% of the stuff we care about. Marvel, Star Wars.
That's there.
That's pretty much it. That's everything right there. Power Rangers. They own Power Rangers. It's not just that they do the toys. They own the IP. They're responsible for the programming, which we already knew was going to go on hiatus. And this really puts a wrinkle in that whole situation, because they were supposed to, at least this was the story, they were going to reboot Power Rangers, making it for a more mature audience. That was always sort of the rumor, the grapevine.
Ooh.
But the writer's strike, production strike, caused the person that was going to be the showrunner, he took another gig. He's working on the next Karate Kid. So you got nobody in charge of Power Rangers. And now Hasbro seems like they're going to be in a cost-cutting mode. Not a let's spend a lot of money on product that hasn't exactly given us the return on investment that we were expecting. So what is going to happen to Power Rangers? What's going to happen to Hasbro? What are your thoughts?
I don't know if I have many. I mean, I think we ended the show last week, and then there was just the floodgates opened in terms of stories, almost immediately. Yeah. And this was one of the first ones that were oh, wow, that'd be some content. So, what is it? Some 1,100 employees are laid off?
Right. So it hasn't happened yet. It's not like they got kicked out.
Is there a GoFundMe to save the employees? Or a HasLab?
It's very confusing, because then some people were floating the idea that 1,100 number includes some of the already announced layoffs.
Sure.
So it's happening in waves. So people may not even know if they're losing their job, or they may like still have to work, but they've been told that we're phasing out your department. The Dungeons and Dragons team, I think, took a big hit. Big hit. And obviously that's not our wheelhouse. We don't really know how that works. Yeah. But Hasbro,
they did not roll a critical roll.
Well, listen.
That's all I know. That's where I'm at.
Listen.
That's it.
Hasbro has made some investments in recent memory. They bought E1, which is a production studio. They thought they were going to be able to turn all of their IP into blockbusters. Transformers, Power Rangers, G.I. Joe. That was the plan. They were going to go the Marvel route, take all their homegrown properties or properties that they've acquired, and become juggernauts in Hollywood. It didn't work out. It hasn't worked out like that. So they actually sold off E1 Studios for pennies on the dollar. I think they paid $4 billion, and they sold it off for like hundreds of millions, so not even $1 billion. So, you can talk about Marvel Legends going to clearance, but that's a drop in the bucket compared to the money they lost on that deal.
I mean, I can relate to some of these Hasbro people this week because you tried to fire me as well this week.
Well, listen.
I felt it coming.
How many weeks have we been doing the show? You send me your video, and then I edit it together. And usually this happens pretty quickly. You're usually very prompt about sending it. And
sure,
Monday went by, Tuesday went by, and I'm like, hey, you gonna send me that? Would you like to have some new content on TikTok? We had some good stuff last week. We had a lot of Pixel Dan stories that no one really cares about, so we're gonna lay off the Pixel Dan for a while. Nobody really cares about that stuff.
Gonna go heavy on the Godzilla content going forward.
Gonna go heavy on the Godzilla. I think so. The way the show works is we're podcast first. We're recording an hour plus of straight through, and this becomes a podcast which you can listen to. We have a nice community from that, but as with a lot of podcasts, the viewership on other platforms dwarfs the number of podcast listens. So we have a TikTok account. It does very well for us. So I try to keep in mind when we're talking about these stories, how do we include enough that when I'm editing the video, it makes for a good TikTok video. And something that works really well on TikTok is the question answer thing. So we had a video this week about King Kong and Godzilla, or it was about Godzilla -1, where I was like, do you know what it means? You saw it, and you're like, yeah, it means this. And you were totally wrong. So right off the bat,
it's okay.
People like when you say things that are wrong, because then they can jump into the comments and be like, actually, it's this.
Yes.
But then I did go on to explain it, so that's good too. So we're gonna try. If you start to see some formulaic ways of us doing things, that is intentional. But back to Hasbro.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of, I found a video that we did 2 years ago where we were talking about, they announced that they had a bad quarter. They made less money than they thought they were going to. So 2 years ago, things weren't going great. Still not going great. They haven't figured it out. They compounded their problems with this plastic free because that just caused people to buy nothing. They're like, maybe I don't need toys. If I can't see them, maybe I don't even need them.
Right.
And that's bad because now that's in your brain where you're like, wait a minute, maybe I don't need toys, huh? So they shot themselves in the foot, figuratively. But also, like I said, toys not doing as well as it's done in the past, still doing fine, comparatively. But that is not where they're losing the most of their money. And there's nothing they can do about it. They sold that studio. They lost the money. The money's gone. They need something to hit. So maybe they're going to roll the dice, as you were saying, on some new properties. Like maybe they are going to back Power Rangers. Maybe they need something. They need a moonshot. They need something to do well to put them in the right direction. We just don't know. We know that people are going to lose their jobs. That sucks. We know that they're abandoning one of their buildings in Rhode Island and consolidating all the staff. That's not great. That's not a good sign. When you decide you don't need an entire building because you have that many less employees. Oops. So, yeah, just a tough story, and you feel the ripples throughout because obviously a lot of these people are collectors, and you know, they are just like us, except they work for the company that makes the stuff that we talk about, that we care about. So it'll be interesting to see if those people pop up elsewhere. Maybe they start their own companies. You see a lot of this independent toy companies starting to pop up, and maybe that's the future of toys. Maybe you have these big licenses. It's like when you go to the theaters. You go to the theaters to see blockbusters. You see Star Wars. You see, what else is there? Jurassic Park,
Marvel?
Avatar. There's Marvel. So these are like your movie going experience movies. But then there's a lot of good stuff that doesn't go to the theaters, or you don't see it in theaters, but it's still good stuff. So think of Hasbro as having these gigantic licenses, which you dabble in. But then there's tons of other companies making really good stuff that you want to collect. It just maybe isn't on shelves at Target. You have to work a little harder, maybe pay a little bit more, maybe kickstart the program. But there still will be toys, just not the way there used to be toys.
I'm okay with that.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad you are. You're not financially impacted, so you're like, yeah, whatever. No, but starting off with the bad news for Hasbro. But Hasbro, I don't know if it was coincidental, or sometimes you try to change the narrative and release the good news. Like you release the bad news first, and then you try to cover it with an avalanche of good news. So they had a lot of announcements this week, especially in terms of the Marvel stuff. Hasbro announced X-Men, the animated series 2, which includes Cyclops, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, Goblin Queen, another Magneto, and Executioner. Now, Executioner, not exactly a household name, but you were saying that you're excited for this figure.
Yeah, because I only had it back in the early Toy Biz days, and I thought it was pronounced Executioner.
Oh, is it Executioner?
Yeah, I don't think it's Executioner.
There's no E.
There's no
But
E.
that's what it's that's what it's supposed to be.
Right, of course. Yeah.
He's the Executioner.
Yeah, he's Executioner.
Pardon me.
So
did he even have a Marvel Legends, or was he just pre-Marvel Legends?
I have never seen one. This is pre-Marvel Legends.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But was he in the original cartoon?
No.
Okay. So this is a new character. Well, not new in terms of he exists already in the comics, but he's going to be added to the new cartoon, X-Men 97. Right. Yeah, he just looks so weird to me. He has like almost like a bird mask. It's pointy.
Right. He's like a bounty hunter, as it were.
He stood out in terms of this is a weird assortment.
It is.
You got your second Magneto, and Magneto, a villain. Villains do not sell as well as heroes. If you had these figures, like I never even saw these figures, the first set. I never even saw them on my shelves. But if you did see them, you probably saw Magneto and Bishop. Like those sold. It took a little bit longer for those to sell.
They stuck around. Sure, yeah.
Right. So it's weird to me that they would stick another. Like maybe this new look is like a big part of the cartoon, which we still don't know when that cartoon is coming. It was supposed to be done by now. It's done. They're just like holding off the premiere because they got nothing. They got nothing else.
Right. So that's my understanding with this Magneto is that we're supposed to have already seen the costume changeover in the show at this point, and we haven't seen it yet. So this is like a minor spoiler where he's a little sexier Magneto.
Sexier Magneto, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just weird to do one character that's not Wolverine to see him in back-to-back sets. It's just I don't know.
They saved their Wolverine for other things.
Well, yeah, we're getting plenty of Wolverine. Don't worry about him. He is well represented. So we got him. We have Cyclops and Jean Grey, which is great. People, again, if you paid the big bucks for those VHS figures with the cell shading, you're probably like, why? Like, because now you're getting essentially the same Cyclops, if not better, because this one comes with the optic blast, which the VHS one did not include.
And then the Jean Grey, you don't have to buy a multi-pack to get her.
Who'd she come with?
Oh, darn.
Darn.
I want to say she probably came with like another Wolverine and Cyclops.
Was she in a V?
No, she was. Yeah, well, she wasn't.
She
a
never
VHS
got a
box.
VHS.
No, she did. She did. I take it
Yeah,
back.
okay, she did. Yeah, okay, she did get a VHS box. Yeah, okay, but now you get her. I don't know if the head sculpt looked a little wonky on the VHS one, and then it had that weird cell shading, which we'll get into cell shading a lot more when we talk about McFarlane and those Batman figures. So series 2 of X-Men, it's so weird how these figures are working in terms of retail, because are they even sold at Walmart? Have we seen the animated X-Men at Walmart, or is this
I haven't
just
seen
Target?
them at Walmart. Only Target.
So Target must only have one spot for Marvel Legends, because as soon as that new What If series came, they clearanced out X-Men. Like, you're done.
Right.
And like I said, I never even saw them at my stores.
And now we're starting to see that new What If wave start to get clearanced out for the Spider-Man set.
Right. Well, Spider-Man set is weird because at least at my stores, it doesn't even have a home on the pegs. They they have that little extension, like it's an island, but it's like I guess it's a plateau because it's attached to the, and it usually has like the large advertisement on there. And this one has like the weird Disney anniversary pops that are like faded blue. They look like Bluey characters. It's very strange aesthetic. I don't get it, but they're just tucked in there, and just like you can't see them because they're just tucked in there. It's very. I mean, they sold through immediately of the Spider-Man. You got if you want Daredevil, you want not Mary Jane. Is it Mary Jane? Right? Is that her name on this?
Right.
No, it's not. Is it?
It isn't.
It's something. It's MJ, but it's not Mary Jane.
Oh, okay.
I think, but you know what we're talking about.
Sure. Yeah. Zendaya.
If you want those two characters, they got plenty. But the Spider-Man, Sandman, see ya, gone immediately. So those will be on clearance. So I don't know when this new X-Men set is going to hit, but it's going to knock something out. So I also, it doesn't. I don't know that this one has the star power, if you will, of the first one, because the first one was like, oh my god. And then you had Wolverine, you had Gambit. I liked all the characters. I thought all the characters were strong.
It was a great selection. The only one, and I wouldn't even say it was questionable. It was Bishop, and we wonder
just
what
he
Bishop's
looks
doing
different.
There. He looks a little different. He doesn't have the long hair.
He looks a little
got
different.
More of the short,
so people were a little like, what?
Short hair there.
But this new set, I feel like is very like it's going to be important that you have seen the show, and no one will have seen the show. So I'm a little concerned about that. But I mean, if it doesn't seem like they're going to have a very long lifespan, regardless of how they sell. If this is how Target is handling these lines. But you mentioned that Wolverine is well represented, and they are doing a 50th anniversary of Wolverine 2-packs. So every set includes a Wolverine. You got Brood Wolverine with Lalandra.
Yep,
what do you know
Lalandra.
about, what do you know about this pairing?
I don't know much about. I mean, these are all comic book based, and
right. Yeah.
Wasn't Lalandra the Shi'ar Empress who took Professor X away at the end of the cartoon?
That sounds right. Yeah.
She played a big
and
part
the
in the Phoenix Saga. The Brood
are
were
like
the
bug.
They were like the bugs. Like they were almost like Marvel's answer to aliens.
Yeah.
They're very xenomorphic. Yeah.
Have they done a Marvel Legends version of that? I know Toy Biz did one back
Just
in
the
the
Build-A-Figure that Toy Biz made.
Oh, they did a Build-A-Figure?
Yeah.
The Brood? Okay. And then, so how did
could have even
Brood...
been the Brood Queen. I don't even know, but...
How did the Brood, like, take the form of Wolverine? They could become people?
Again, you're asking me questions I don't have answers to.
You don't know. That's fine. Well, someone... This is good. Someone will tell us in the comments.
Yeah, tell us.
Then you have Patch, which is like Wolverine undercover, and he's got a patch. He's like Collector Crush.
Oh,
and
yes.
he's with Joe Fixit, who is Hulk undercover, Gray Hulk. But they're wearing these very nice white tuxedos. They look very nice, very dapper.
Very dapper. Yeah.
This is a fun set. And then this is my personal favorite, Wolverine and Sabretooth. And Wolverine is in his civvies. He's got jeans, and he's got a nice red buttoned shirt. I really like this set a lot.
He's got the hat.
He's got the hat. He comes with playing cards, which I think is the Gambit mold, but without like the kinetic energy coming off of them.
Okay.
And I enjoy the scale. So this is a great set this whole series because you got a really big figure like Hulk and Sabretooth, and then you got a really tiny figure with Wolverine and Logan. Yeah. And I enjoy that scale.
It's good. I'll probably grab a couple of these. Grab the Sabretooth and the Logan.
Are those the only three? Before? No, there's one more. Lady Psylocke and Ninja Wolverine.
Okay.
And Ninja Wolverine, a little plain, but he does come with new head sculpts, 2 new head sculpts. So if you're a big Wolverine guy or gal, this is the year for you.
I wouldn't mind a Weapon X Wolverine. When you remember the one where he was like the secret agent, or the Toy Biz secret agent one, and you just had all the blades that you would attach to his wrists and his legs, and it would look absurd, and he had that visor that was attached to his head. Yeah. And it'd be like,
and then they do like a green, like they kept
they did a couple
color.
Variations of it. Yeah.
I didn't love that figure because I didn't understand the reference.
No, I suppose.
But the first one was black and gold. I definitely had it.
Right.
He had like the ski goggles that would come over with the little speaker that went in front of his mouth.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think they did when they used to upsize these figures, they would do a 10-inch version. I think I had that one.
Right, and then they made a metallic version, so they just kept going and going.
That was so funny that all of the ways they reused those molds. Yeah, here's like the green, like olive green, like disgusting looking. I don't know why. He was 5th edition, KB exclusive collector's edition.
Ooh.
KB's like, we don't care, just give us whatever. Just say it's Wolverine. There you go. They also showed off a new Angel figure with very large wings, which looks nice.
Yep.
I don't think I have a single Angel figure except when Toy Biz did that 4 or 5 pack of the original X-Men.
Oh, okay.
That was a cool set at the time, but the articulation was really wonky on those.
A couple things from Marvel, a couple more. They had Captain America? Like Falcon as Captain America?
Okay, so this is from the comic. Mm-hmm. And this is a Walmart thing. They had
they had a couple
Falcon.
Walmart things.
Yeah, they had Falcon, and then they had the original, like Steve Rogers Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those are like not their classic looks, like just like slightly different uniforms.
Right.
Yeah.
So those will probably pop up on some collector con in the future.
Right. Yeah. So those aren't like super exciting to me. Speaking of Walmart and Marvel Legends, they had some good deals just randomly this week. That 2-pack of Morbius and the 6th Arm Spider-Man was down to $20.
Yeah, I picked that up. I picked that up a couple weeks ago because they reran the sale. So the first time it went around, I grabbed it.
Huh. I kept putting it in my cart, but then you have to spend $35 to get free shipping. Oh yeah. So I was trying to find something else, and I put that Snake Eyes that comes with Timber.
Oh, I got 2 of those.
I was like, I just don't even want it.
And I got a wolf pack now.
You got a wolf pack?
Yeah. I don't need Naughty or Nice's reindeers. I have a wolf pack.
Wolf pack in the house. I haven't checked on the Naughty or Nice.
The jumbo turtles were like down to $12.50.
Did they have all of them though?
They only had Leonardo and Mikey.
See, that's no good.
No, and Mikey was sold out.
Shot. Oh.
And then I heard like it depends on what Walmart you go to if you can price match their own website, because a lot of them won't.
Yeah, I hate that.
It's a stupid thing.
All right, looking at the Fresh Monkey Fiction site. So these are basically a Kickstarter because they have to hit a certain goal to get made. The reindeers are all lumped together, so they have to sell 3,000 combined of the reindeers to put those to turn on the machines. They're currently at somewhere between 1,500 and 2,250. So more than halfway there. So those should end up happening. None of the figures from Series 3 have technically been funded yet. The one with the most pre-orders, 405, is that Father Christmas one, which is like the most similar to that Figura Obscura from the Four Horsemen. He's got like the wreath around his head. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting that's like the most popular character. The least popular character, or the least popular version of Santa, is the one that just has the button-up shirt
Oh, really? Story time Santa? I thought that would be the best one. I like that one. I went like that one quite a bit.
So we are not in sync with the Santa people. And then the Wizard one is at $350. So I thought that one was the worst, but people seem so clearly. Fresh Monkey Fiction did some research and they found out which flavor of Santa people are most interested in. So good for them. Someone commented on our video on TikTok that they ordered the red Krampus, and he's about a little over halfway to being funded. So I think at the end of the day, these will all happen. I don't know the deadline for these. The little versions of Santa are a little bit behind. They haven't cracked 600 yet, and they need to get to 2,500. But I still think everything will get done. But I guess once we get... Oh, there's 30 days left, so plenty of time. But once we get past Christmas, then it gets a little dicey if things haven't been funded yet. Because it's like, I'm not thinking about Christmas anymore. Christmas is the last thing I want to think about after Christmas is done. Like, I need some time to recoup. So we'll see. Hopefully these do get funded, because I enjoy these. I like to see every year what they're doing with Santa, and I have my classic Santa that they've rerun, so you can still get Series 1 classic Santa from Big Bad Toy Store. Another big reveal from Hasbro this week, trying to change the narrative. When that first new Ghostbusters movie came out, Afterlife, Hasbro was all gung-ho about Ghostbusters stuff. In addition to releasing new figures based on the new movie, they re-released those Kenner figures from the real Ghostbusters, Series 1. Yeah. This was a dream come true. We were so excited about this. It came out at Toy Fair, the last in-person Toy Fair before the pandemic.
Yep.
Super excited. We pre-ordered, and then it just took forever. We found them in person before, and then they changed the packaging a little bit.
Yeah.
People got tri-lingo packaging, which just ruins it because the packaging is the whole thing. And then they ended up at Ollie's. Oh. What a life cycle for that line. You could end up getting $4. What were they? $4 at Ollie's?
They were.
I never saw them. I think even though I have like 4 sets, I don't think I could have stopped myself from buying more. But we were always like, do more, do another set, do Ecto Glow. That's what people want. Those figures, they go for so much money because they were so hard to find.
Right.
So Hasbro listened, kind of, and they are releasing another set of real Ghostbusters, but I guess they're going in chronological order because now they're doing Fright Features, which was the second series released.
It was.
And these are all new sculpts. I was asking you, are these the only Ghostbuster figures that didn't reuse those original molds? And you said that there's one other set, Super Fright Features.
Right.
Yeah. So these are, I'm almost concerned that these are going to do worse because they don't look like Ghostbusters. Like, unless you remember these, you're going to be like, who are these guys? They don't have proton packs. They don't even have proton packs.
They don't. You're right. Oh, and you know what? There was actually another set. There was another set. I take it all back. There was the click and rewind ones as well.
Oh, that's right. Where you put the ghost on them?
Yeah, they introduced...
You lock in the ghost and turn it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. What were those called?
I don't know. Something frightened. It was probably something Fright Features. And wait, is this just a set of the 4 guys and no Janine?
Well, that's the other thing. They didn't... So this has not officially been announced by Hasbro.
Yeah, these are all
somebody on eBay.
And
this is leaked. Stores. Someone on eBay is selling them, which I think you can pretty much take for like this is happening because they have new packaging. I think it says Hasbro on it. Like, somebody went through a lot of trouble to trick us if it's the case. But they aren't selling Janine. So Janine was included. It was a 5-figure set originally. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? Do they just think she would sell so poorly? They're just like, forget it.
Don't like that mentality. Don't like that anymore.
Never going to get Lewis on anything. Oh. Screaming Heroes. That was the name of the other set.
Okay, yeah.
I think at that point... Scream? Like they would make a sound when they would spin?
I think they would spin, but the ghost would scream.
Ghost would make the sound. Yeah,
right.
It was like hollow.
It was hollow and it had the vents, so it was like whatever the character would do to...
Right.
create that noise. It would scream through the ghost. That was a set my parents didn't get me, which was
Which
odd.
one, Screaming or
the Screaming
Fright Features?
Heroes? The Screaming Heroes.
Yeah.
But
Because then we were just back to the original molds in different colors.
Yeah, I collected those ones as an adult.
I give them all. So back to these Fright Features. Aside from Janine and possibly not being included, which is probably the biggest story, the second biggest story is we have a chance to get an unbroken tie Egon, which is probably the rarest figure in the history of toys. Fright Features Egon without his tie snapped off because it was the thin as plastic. I wonder if standards have changed and if that tie has to be thicker or maybe doesn't even fly up. Like, I wonder if there is anything different about it.
Watch it be like a really soft material, like Gambit's cloak. It's just like a.
That would be fine. I mean, that probably makes more sense if it's supposed to be a tie.
It looks molded. It looks molded though. The other thing that's going to be good about that one is that it won't suffer from that toy mold that some toys get over time.
Oh, gross.
That black, those spots.
The disease.
Yeah, the disease.
Yeah, the disease. Plastic disease. Yeah, that's good. So, I mean, I'm excited for this. I'm just concerned to, like, the average toy buyer who doesn't remember these, who didn't grow. Like, the audience, I think, is very narrow for this set. Like, you have to remember. You have to have collected the original real Ghostbusters. I'd be like, what is this? These aren't the Ghostbusters. Are these the Spook Chasers? I don't know who these guys are.
That just had me buying my childhood over again so I can keep it in the box. That's what it is.
Pretty much. Yeah. Between this and Turtles, I mean, Playmates finally figured out what we want. They're just re-releasing those original Turtles and all the supporting characters. This is great. I mean, I have a pegboard above me. It's eventually just going to be filled with Ghostbusters and Turtles. I love it. That's what I want.
Like just shopping back in the 80s.
I know.
Get some shelving underneath for some box stuff, and there you go.
Yeah. Well, I actually do have a couple of things. Somebody needs to do replica Toys R Us stickers and like KB stickers and all these stores like Child World. Someone needs to sell just sheets of them so I can just put them on the replicas just to add that little more authenticity.
I think you can buy those.
So somebody already has those.
Somebody makes die cut. If you just go on eBay, someone makes die cut stickers of the price tags there.
Well, maybe you can get that for my birthday, my 40th.
Maybe. No, my mother and I are putting together your birthday / Christmas. Yes, it's coming up.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't get you anything. Well, I guess technically I got you that Batmobile because you never pay me back. But that's
true.
That's your present.
Yay!
Enjoy that. So last week you teased a big Grail haul, and
I did.
We said that it was from Facebook Marketplace, so you might get
so
murdered. But you didn't.
I survived.
You didn't get murdered. You made a friend.
Again. I made a friend who knows somebody who might know Ralph Macchio.
He might know Ralph Macchio.
So now Ralph Macchio is now a friend of the podcast.
Hey, well, we were just talking about the new Karate Kid
this
movie.
Other person.
So.
Yeah.
Can we get him to ask the guy why he doesn't want to do Power Rangers, or what his original idea for Power Rangers was going to be? Can we get that scoop? Oh my God, that'd be awesome.
So
all right.
Do you keep going? No.
I was just gonna say you found something on Marketplace that you've been looking for a long time, and you acquired it. What was it?
I wouldn't even say I was looking for these for a long time.
You weren't actively looking for it, but you would have wanted them.
I would have. I mean, do you have like things that you consider grails that you actively try to get, but at the same time, same type of the grails that you're like, if I never see it, it's okay, I can live without it. But if it comes across, you're like, I need that.
I don't know that I do.
No.
My dream is to always find like intact Migos.
Okay.
At a yard. Like anytime I get, if I could find something old, like in good condition and like way cheaper than it should be, that's like my dream. But there's not like one thing. Maybe that Inspector Gadget that was like clothed.
Oh, sure.
Do you remember that? I don't even know.
I would consider that.
I would
your
like
grail.
that. Yeah, because I remember having that.
Grail.
That was like the one that got away.
Yeah.
But for you've confessed to being a big King of the Hill fan, even more so than The Simpsons, which shocked me to my core. And they did action figures for King of the Hill, But I almost feel like these came out before like the deluge of action figures where everyone was getting like really good action figures. These were kind of like on the cusp, and they got overlooked, which made them very rare and go for a lot of money on eBay. But you were able to pick the whole setup for a song.
Correct. So after or right before, I think it was the Friday before we recorded last week, a marketplace post came up, and I mistook it because we're so inundated with just toy groups that I thought it was a toy group page, not a local page. So
just showing
contacted,
off.
Just showing
Not for
off. Hey,
sale.
I've got this
Not for
collection
sale.
right. Any trades? So I see this guy posts. I don't pay attention to the fact that it was marketplace. And I go, I'm interested in the set of figures. And he goes, well, what do you want for him? And I said, well, I don't want to lowball you, sir. What would you offer? So he says $50. And I say, I'll take them. And at the time, it was 6 figures. And I go, do you take PayPal? He goes, no, I don't do enough of this to take PayPal. Do you take Venmo then? Still thinking that it was a marketplace. Not marketplace, just like he was far away. And he goes, no, when we meet up, you can give me cash.
You thought he was going to ship it to you?
I thought he'd ship it to me because I didn't realize he was local.
Gotcha,
So when he says that, I'm like, I'm so discouraged because in front of me is 6 of the 2003 Toy-Com King of the Hill figures.
Hey. Look at that. They're big.
Yes.
How big are they?
They're wonderful.
7-inch?
They're to that scale. So there's the 3 guys.
Look at that.
Yeah. So
Say
Dale,
that
Bill, and
Hank
Boomhauer.
is not a guy.
Well, that's a story for a different part of the story.
It's a 2-part. Oh, no.
And then Luann, Peggy, and Bobby.
Bobby. That boy ain't right.
Bobby.
Those are nice.
As my son calls him, the boy that went down the slide, because there's an episode where he is trying to go down a water park like surfing slide, and he gets hazed, and they send him down a large slide naked.
Aw.
So I say, hey, I'm not local to you, I don't think. I'm sorry, and I pass on him. And he goes, and then I look at where he's located, and he's located 40 minutes from me, and I'm like, oh shit, you're in Mass. Oops. I go, you're in Massachusetts, and he goes, yeah, and I go, well, let's meet up. It's fine.
Yeah.
Because I was willing to go. I'm in northern Massachusetts. I was willing to go into Connecticut, New York, Rhode Island to grab these for $50.
Border.
Yes.
I don't understand why you didn't think he was local. It's not a local group.
I don't know what it was like. I thought it got posted on like Action Figure Junkies.
Oh, you didn't even notice. Like
I was so quick.
Yeah. You're like, there's
click
no
on the photo of the set of figures.
Right. It's too good of. There's no way this is real. Like this. There's got to be some catch. Like this isn't gonna happen.
Right. Right. It's just.
But
bait.
It did.
This is
Action
toy bait.
Figure Fate. It's toy bait.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, these came out in 2003, and they were at like GameStop, like early GameStop when they just started doing toys.
Was it even GameStop then? It was still like Babbage's or whatever it used to be.
EB Games, was that what it was?
EB Games, something like that, yeah.
Something. Well, I know
Suncoast.
Michael Crawford did a review on them, and he got his from GameStop.
Ah, okay. Well, there you go.
So, this
Man,
is
that
one
guy,
of those.
what a time machine that is.
Yeah, this is one of those sets where you would go on Entertainment Earth now, and they'd be there just for reference purposes.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I meet the guy. It's pouring rain. We have a joke. We meet at a Wendy's parking lot by a mall, and he goes, "You're not here to murder me," and I'm like, "As long as you're not here to murder me."
Ah, and then
we joked about that for a while.
You're like,
yeah,
just I see what you did there. Yeah.
So he hands me a plastic bag. It looks very, as a marketplace meetup would look, very suspicious.
Sure, of course.
And I go to the guy because he had so much stuff, and I've learned now through many interactions with people to just be like, "Oh, you gave me this, but do you have more?"
Yes. What else is there?
You have to. Sometimes if that's all you're showing, there might be a little bit more while you're here. So I say to the guy, I go, You gave me the 6 figures in the picture. I go, do you have Hank Hill by chance? And he goes, Hank Hill was in the bag. And I'm like, what?
He didn't include him in the photo? You didn't even
He wasn't included in the photo. I didn't think I was getting Hank. So I had already started like putting watch items on eBay for Hank Hill. And he goes for like, on the card at least, he goes for like $300. Like, these are not cheap figures.
They're not cheap at all.
No.
So now you just need to track down the few accessories that they come with. And then you didn't get Ladybird? Didn't come with the dog?
Ladybird was not included. She did originally come with Bobby.
Right.
That's okay.
No, you need like someone to help this guy out. You gotta complete this set now.
dog.
Get Cosmo from the Build-A-Figure.
I have, yeah. Why
Guardians
not?
of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I've got a couple fake beer cans coming from Temu for the guys.
There you go.
That's all they came with.
And
Luann didn't have an accessory. The fence I'm going to just make from stuff from Dollar Tree.
Are you gonna paint King of the Hill on it? Or
Yeah,
it looks better without that. You just need like the real fence. Well, that is
Hank Hill wouldn't like that.
No. Well, just in time. You know, it'll be funny when they bring out the new season. They're gonna release like NECA's gonna do the figures or something. They're gonna be much better. But those actually look really good. They have limited articulation, but I think that's good for these designs. You don't break up the lines.
I do. Let's get Dale back out here real quick because yes, you're right. They don't break up the lines.
Yeah.
They're very very different, like the Simpsons figures. How you would the World of Springfield. How Bart was like translated into like 3-dimensional.
It didn't work too well.
It looked weird. The hair looked weird.
Yeah.
Dale's great. He's got a cigarette.
Oh, you can't get away with that anymore.
Can't get away with that. There, look at them there,
nice.
puffing away.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Puffing away.
Puffing
got
away.
The pack in in his pocket.
He does. He's got his little knife holster there.
Oh my! Look at the detail.
The detail is tremendous for these.
These are great.
So yeah, this was like I'm striking out here. Well, not striking out, but hitting home runs with these marketplace finds.
Yeah, you're really. I mean, for real.
Free dinos and King of the Hills. Yeah.
Yeah. At that price, those are essentially free. Like you could flip those for like multiple times what you paid.
Right.
Well, that's very exciting for you, Bill. I'm very happy.
I was. Thank you.
Let's keep this review train rolling because we've talked about it a lot. We know that the McNugget buddies are black at McDonald's, and I got myself a couple. Here's the main one. This is the one based on the creator, Kerwin Frost. You can see the pencil tattoo, which my son was very confused about, and I had no answers. His headpiece, his hair, and his hat comes off. They're not. You can see he sort of wobbles a little bit when you shake them. They're not tight. They don't fit tight, but they fit. So it's like unless you like turn him. So I would love if I feel like the original buddies were a little tighter, but we're all getting older, so I understand everything loosens up a little bit. And then this is the one I really wanted because I love his train arms, and then he's got the baseball cap. This is
it just doesn't stay on.
Well, I mean, it stays on as it falls off. It stays on, I mean, well enough. Like, but, it would be nice if they were a little tighter. I forget his name. I feel like I have his box here. Who is he? Does he have their names on the box? Yeah.
They're
Uptown Mo. Uptown Mo. So I've definitely warmed to this set. I enjoy the branding of it. It's like, what would you do if you were a McNugget? So I imagine these are based on someone he knows or characters in his life. Yeah, I think it's a fun set. I like these a lot more than that cactus pizza farm whatever that they did with the mutated looking characters. Like, give me these any day of the week. Let's get series 2 rolling right away. So again, doesn't stay on too well, but very fun. Very I like the McNugget buddies. Another review. So we talk about Super 7 a lot. They have every license, it seems, and they eventually will put out something. They've done Power Rangers. They did the figures of. They did the Power Ranger characters, and I don't love those. I think the Hasbro Lightning Collection are superior figures. But they did something that I like a lot. They did non-transformable versions of the Zords. Series 1 had the Dino or the Tyrannosaurus Zord, Series 2 had the Dragonzord, which I have my qualms with. I don't think the silhouette is right. He's very flat chested. Yeah. So like I was very disappointed because I wanted to like it so much. And now I'm actually even more disappointed in the Dragonzord because I got Series 3 Megazord, Dino Megazord, and good God, this might be my figure of the year because it is beautiful. It is based on the look of the guy in the costume. It just like it's just so well done. The big goofy hands. People were saying like, oh, it's got poor articulation, but like the guy just sort of like scurried around. It's not like you can't lift your legs.
Yeah,
they did make this part like the skirt. They made the skirt soft, so you do get a little bit more movement. But I mean, the arms move fine. You got up, out. What more could you want? Even the ball joint head, there's like a scene where he's malfunctioning and the head goes all crazy. It's perfect. Mm-hmm. It just looks beautiful. Oh my God,
it's a strong looking figure. Yeah.
Look at the detail, like all the folded up pieces on the Zords that combine. You got the feet from the T-Rex. Like this is what the costume looked like. It's perfect. Right. It's the best.
Looks like it was made out of cardboard. Yeah.
it does.
The back
the figure is very solid. Yeah,
no,
the back, it's so
like
funny. Because it's like when they designed the costumes, they didn't really care about the back. So it's like very minimal detail compared to the front. Yeah. But it makes me sad because this is probably the last new character we're going to get because they put up the Tiger Zord, the white Tiger Zord in battle mode as a figure. And it didn't get enough orders. It's not happening. So unless maybe they do Dragon Zord in battle mode, which I would love, I don't know that we're going to get anything else.
But that Megazord, he can fight with your Hasbro monsters, right?
Yeah, because they're pretty big. He even works pretty well. There was that in green. Well, I guess he's kind of small, but I was trying to say, like, when the Green Ranger turned big in the Green with Evil miniseries. Just love this Megazord. It's the best. And if that's all I get from this series, that's fine because it was worth it because no one else was going to do a Megazord that good. So, Brian from Super 7. Whatever I've said about you in the past, it was worth it for this figure. Everything else, I guess he was a big fan. He usually we say like Super 7 just does what Brian wants, like what Brian wanted as a kid. So thank you, Brian, for wanting this exact thing. On this one instance, our two wants were completely in sync. So love it. Good stuff. This week, McFarlane announced Series 2 of their Batman the Animated Series figures, which are exclusive to Target. It's a build-a-figure wave again. You're going to build Lockup. So we were talking about the first series where you would build Condiment King, and I was trying to remember if DC Direct made Condiment King, because the rest of these figures are just re-releases of the DC Direct figures with the awful cell shading for the paint update. But I think Condiment King was a new figure, and what was the giveaway is the way the hips are designed using the McFarlane diaper method. Okay. And the same with this lockup figure, where there's a separate pelvis piece that fits over like the leg ball joint hip area. So that's like the giveaway. So I think so it's like they're re-releasing old figures, but then they're giving you one new figure as a Build-A-Figure, which is interesting. Like I mean, if you were like a diehard for the set, you would really want these build figures, so it makes sense. The cell shading is a little better, I think, just because it was so bad in Series 1 with Batman and Robin, those figures especially. It's a little better. It's a little more subtle, especially on Jim Gordon. So you got Gordon, you got Riddler, Trenchcoat Joker, and then this Batman Blind as a Bat, where he has two head portraits. One... normal Batman head, but his eyes are red. And then another one where it's like you see much more of his face. Like I can't place this exact look from the episode, but it does seem like they sculpted a brand new look. So that's something. Sure.
I just can't get over the cell shading. I'm sorry.
No, it's terrible. It's terrible. That's why I can't pay full price for these. I'm like hopeful that they'll go on clearance. But I'm hopeful. The one figure that DC Direct did not do that I really wanted was a Bruce Wayne, a proper Bruce Wayne. And they kind of did it because they did a 2-pack with Batman Beyond where they had old man Bruce, but he's different. He's not like, the head is not exactly what he would have looked like as the younger Bruce. So I don't know if they can just give us the Bruce Wayne head and then we can plop it on a Two-Face body, because I want that New Adventures look. And basically the Two-Face body is just the suited Bruce Wayne. Like that, they could have just done that. So I would love for that. I'll buy that figure however it gets released. But I'm with you where I don't need to pay, because it's $25, so it's $100 for 5 figures if you include the Build-A-Figures. $20 per figure, which is, I guess, going rate. But I think these figures are not as good as the originals, and I have a lot of the originals. So it's like, I don't want to do it. Yeah. You can't make me do it.
I had just that shopping spree, that Walmart shopping spree the other night online where I was just picking up all their exclusives, and I think I spent like $115 total, and I probably got like 12 things, but then I looked at how much I saved because everything was on sale, and it was like, you saved $271, and I was like,
wow.
What
a good shopper you are.
Yeah.
All stuff you need probably too, right?
Well, a lot of it is Christmas presents.
Well, there you go. Then that's all you need to say.
Or just because stuff. It's like, I don't want my son playing with my Boba Fett helmet anymore. I got him his own.
You don't want him playing with your deluxe Jango Fett, so you're gonna buy him the new one.
Oh, thank you for bringing that up, because that was another one of these items that was released. Like, look at, we can still do. But this figure, the retail price alone, I don't know if you're aware of the cost of the deluxe 3 3/4 inch figures for the vintage line. Do you 25. Know what they are? Yeah, 25. They're $25, $26
for the 4-inch figures, the little guys.
Correct. Yeah. Insane. So you still get a plastic-free package.
Sure,
because
that's right. They're still doing that.
Yeah, they're plastic free on those because there was never anything in the original Kenner line that was deluxe.
Oh,
except
so
like maybe vehicles. So they're still trying to match the look. However, this is your standard Jango Fett. It's a new sculpt, removable helmet. I don't think the portrait is that great.
Because you can see, what's his name?
You can see Tamara Morrison.
It's not great. How many chances have they had to sculpt this guy? Every clone.
I feel like we had back in the Saga collection back in 2002. It looked fine.
No
issues. Yes.
Yeah.
And so you get his two pistols. You get a flame effect for his gauntlet, and you get exhaust effects for his backpack.
For the collector, you're exhausted with this.
Yes.
Hasbro's way of milking the fan base.
Right.
Yeah, they really need... They can't call these deluxe. They just have to call them, we want your money. Like, they can't... Right. They're doing a disservice to the word. So if they ever do a deluxe, it's going to be like, oh, this is what it's supposed to look like.
This figure had me scratching my head so much. I had to go back and see if there was anything in the history of the Jango Fett figures, same accessories or something close to it. And I said the vintage collection figure is closest with just accessories without blast effects, and then if you go into the Saga line with like Attack of the Clones and everything like that back in the early 2000s, you got some with flame effects, and they capped out at like $10, and that was deluxe back then.
Right.
But again, those all went to clearance because nobody wanted them, because that was the period of like gimmicks in Star Wars figures. Everything had like a magnet in it to like use the Force, and sometimes they worked, which was great. But in this case, I think the deluxe Jango, he had like flames, but one of them was like a hook. I was like, how's he making flame, like a hook flame? What is this?
Like he's the Human Torch. He can bend
he can manipulate.
Fire.
He can manipulate the fire. Ooh.
Remember back in the Power of the Force 2 days, they did so many subsets. They had like an R2 with a magnet under and like a really small platform of sand in the background.
Force FX.
And then they did all the lightsaber characters with a lightsaber permanently extended, but it would glow, it would light up.
Right.
But they all looked so terrible. They had like huge sleeves to hide the elements. Those were the worst.
Yes, they did that. They gave the one that was great though. Is Emperor Palpatine.
With the lightning, you like that one?
With the lightning, that one made sense. They hid it. They hid that battery pack properly.
Because he's just like a glob. He didn't have any.
Right.
He has big sleeves. Like that was an easy one.
That was an interesting time because I remember when Obi-Wan and Darth Vader came out, because they kicked off that line, and it would connect and they would duel. That was the bigger thing too.
That's right. That's what it was.
They'd have like a base where they could kind of just duel. But Obi-Wan had a green lightsaber.
Right.
Not blue.
Or was it yellow? It was like
it was green.
It was straight up green, or it was just like okay.
My sample was green. It was the same green as Luke's. And I remember kind of trying to find an answer for this, and they said at the time that blue LED technology
hadn't been invented yet.
Had not so much hadn't been invented, but was not cost prohibitive.
Oh, it was too expensive to.
It was
to
too
do it
expensive.
Right. So they're like, just do it wrong. No,
just do it green.
Star Wars fans historically accepting of inaccuracies in their toys. So just be like, that's fine. Not even a problem.
It's all right.
They couldn't even
buy
like make
they'll
the
buy
casing.
it. They'll buy it 5 years from now when.
I don't understand, because wouldn't they just make the casing translucent blue and then it's just like a clear light, like a white light?
Like a white light, yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand why that.
But no, they use green.
That. We need to get to the bottom of it. I need an official.
I remember 11-year-old me looking it up on very early internet. It's like the one thing on the early internet that I started researching. Why is Obi-Wan's lightsaber green?
Why? This is Do you remember that one episode where are we expected to believe that he is some sort of sorcerer and he could change? Whatever that exact quote is. That still counts as a Simpsons reference. We met our quota this week.
There we go.
Yes. So that is happening. We talked earlier about we don't know what the future holds for Power Rangers, especially now that Hasbro is in the situation that Hasbro is in. This week on the internet, photos were leaked of the next Sentai. And if you know anything about the history of Power Rangers, up until this point, Power Ranger footage came from that Sentai show. So, we started with Mighty Morphin. That was from a show called Zoo Ranger. 30 years, you would have the Sentai footage, and then a year or two later, it would be translated into Power Rangers. Now, that stopped. This final season, 30th season, they made original costumes. They still used the Zord footage. So it didn't make any sense, but they still use the Zord footage from the Sentai. Photos of the new Sentai was leaked. It's called Boon Boomger. And basically the helmets look like they have a tire stuck right to the front of their head. And then they have like a different symbol, like a star or something for the 5 different characters. Okay. It's so funny because in Japan, this show is for children. Just like it's supposed to be in America, but all the fans have been watching for 30 years. So, obviously they're at least 40 years old at this point, or, 35, 40. So people take this stuff very seriously, even though this would be essentially like if they leaked footage of the new series of Bluey, the new season of Bluey, or even worse, like the new season of like Daniel Tiger or something. Like it would not be a big deal. Like, oh, they're introducing a new character on Daniel Tiger. Cool. But it's a big deal on like the Power Rangers internet. Because this is one thing to think about. We don't know what the future holds with Hasbro and Power Rangers. It's very possible. It's much more possible now than it was a year ago that Hasbro is just going to sell Power Rangers back to Saban or someone else. Like someone else could own Power Rangers by the end of 2024. And they could go back to the company Toei that does Sentai and be like, listen, it worked for 30 years. Let's make it work again and start using that Japanese footage again. So there is a possibility that these stupid looking Power Ranger characters from Sentai get used in the American show. And they look ridiculous on there for children. But that's how it's been done. And it was just a big to-do. If you follow any sort of Power Ranger social media, it was a big to-do that these got leaked. And people got their feelings hurt, and then people are saying like, you're ruining it for everybody else. We're not going to get leaks anymore. I don't know. It was just a big to do, and I just wanted to put it on the record that in a couple of years, if it looks like they're going back to the Japanese footage and we see these terrible looking designs on the shelves as toys, we'll be like, well, the butterfly effect of everything not going well for Hasbro really did not fare too well for Power Ranger fans.
But they're finding a home with McFarlane.
I forgot all about that. Yeah, it was announced. So again, another big Hasbro announcement. Yeah. Hasbro has struck a deal with McFarlane, and McFarlane is going to make toys, page punchers, for Hasbro's the IP that they own. So not Marvel, not Star Wars, but you're going to get G.I. Joe, Transformers, Power Rangers, My Little Pony, maybe? I don't know.
Many others, they said, yes.
So page punchers exist. Gem, sure. She's so outrageous. Page punchers are those 2-packs of tiny, like 5-inch, like 5 points of articulation, or not 5-inch, like 4-inch, smaller than that. 5 points of articulation, and they come with a comic book. You see them like on Power Rings. They're not like they're not like in the aisle. They're like on the side corner of the aisle. But I think the larger 7-inch normal McFarlane figures that come with a comic are also under the banner of page punchers. I think
they are.
So we don't know if they're considering doing these figures in that larger scale. Now, that seems like it would definitely be a conflict with Hasbro's
I don't know
lines,
if it would, because the scale's a little bigger.
Well, it's a little different. It's definitely different, but we don't know. Now, if it's only the little figures, I don't think that's going to move the needle. I don't think that's going to satisfy Power Ranger
not on my
fans.
end.
And then like Transformer figures like that, you can get them from like the Dollar Tree, or the little guys.
Right.
They're obviously not going to transform. But if you let the sculptors at McFarlane loose on some 7-inch figures, that could be very interesting.
It's going to
McFarlane
be like,
always
what about
finding
Duke?
A way.
What about Duke from G.I. Joe? Except this time he's Batman. Or Bumblebee.
Batman. But he's Batman.
But this time he's the Batman. Batmobile.
I think they did that where there was like the bat, like the bat vehicles were it was like cars, like Disney's Cars, but it was bat vehicles.
That's a newer thing, isn't that new?
Right.
That's a new.
It's new
show. Yeah.
But did it fail? Like, is it still happening? Because I remember them advertising it, but then I've heard nothing of it. I've heard nothing.
The toys are at Target. They're right next to Paw Patrol.
They're out there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, we haven't gone down the Paw Patrol aisle recently.
Oh, you've grown out of it. You're in between it.
I think he's super into Pokemon right now.
Just Pokemon, huh?
And then I got him to get some new Akato guys. There's like these new beasts. I love those Akato guys. I think that's such a fun little toy.
Mine always circle back to like their original interests. It's very funny.
Yeah. Well, it's like us. You always come back to the mainstays.
So my son's
whatever you
Ghostbusters now again. Ghostbusters.
Oh, there you go. That's good. Oh, I wish my kid loved Ghostbusters. Wanted to collect those figures.
It just rotates.
Yeah. Like, if you like action figures, I'll buy you all of them. Right. I remember they, for those the Star Wars Kids cartoon, the new one they did, Jedi Academy, is that what it's called? I was like, I will buy you the full set right now. I'll just say the word. And he was like, nah. I was like, do you understand what I'm saying, right? I'll buy you all the 2-packs, the friggin' play sets, the vehicle. I'll buy it all right now. And he's like, nah. It's like, damn it.
Nah.
This might not be our last story, but I want to. So there's been, it's been some weirdness in the toy community this week with Hasbro, everything going on there. And then it was announced today that a couple of the main driving forces behind the Fwoosh are ending their relationship with the Fwoosh. Now, the Fwoosh, if you're not familiar, is a website, is a brand. It has existed for a long time. I was on those message boards way back in the day. They had a very good customizer section. I would always check in there to see what like the best customizers in the world. I don't know if customizing is as big a deal anymore. I feel like people who were really into customizing toys just like 3D design their own stuff and like start their own companies out.
I think that's where it's going now.
Yeah.
3D printing.
Not so much like using pre-existing toys and painting them. Like that's gone by the wayside. So Fwoosh has been around for a long time. I've never really understood how it worked. Apparently it is owned by this guy, Paul Wolf. This is funny. So on their site, they have like a list of all their officers. So Paul Wolf is the CEO and founder, but it also has their internet handle. So Paul Wolf is Pablo Lobo, which is just, Paul Wolf, but in Spanish. So it's just funny that is how he is, like on like Twitter or whatever, like on their message boards, you see him like that. So who is it that left this week? Is it RoboKilla?
RoboKilla, yeah.
Brian Rutherford. He announced he's leaving. And then one other person, Veebs. What's his real name? So Nick Wood, VB. He is editor-in-chief he is front page editor-in-chief. They're out. They're done. They're going to do their own projects. So I don't know what's going on with the Fwoosh. They still have people working there, but they lost their like main people. That would be like, the faces of Fwoosh. So I don't know. Fwoosh looking for some new faces. We got a couple of faces here. If you're looking to, it's a paying gig. If it's a paying gig, got a couple of faces right here.
They're like, we'll pay you in toys. You already said you'd work for them.
Yeah, I would. I mean, depending on the workload, I would work for toys. That's fine. So it's interesting. The times they be changing on the toy internet. It was interesting when things get shooken up like that. You want to talk about Ross? More people are just finding
real quick,
gold mine Rosses for toy collectors this year.
And every single day, it just seems like it's more stuff. More stuff from the Hasbro Pulse website. More store exclusives. I think even like up to like us recording this, people were finding more Marvel Legends, more Transformers. I think the Maverick, the F-16 fighter jet Transformer was found. And it's crazy. Just the amount of stuff. And it's like Ross was like, crazy. Yes, Hasbro, I'll buy it all. Just give it to me. It'll sell. They
probably got a good deal, like a package deal. And then we saw the basketball goal net for the Hasbro starting lineup figures. That's popping up too. So you can get the whole set. You get the figures and you get the basketball net.
It's like $2.99 for the net.
It's because there's only $20 to start. It's like just paying like 10% of it. No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
And we were saying it didn't look that great. It definitely didn't match up to the McFarlane one from back in the day. But for $3, give me at least two.
We're not seeing. I mean, we're seeing Dungeons and Dragons, but we're not seeing anything from Mattel. We're not seeing any Jurassic Park stuff outside of the normal 1 or 2 dinosaurs that occasionally you'll see at a closeout store.
Seeing a bunch of McFarlane stuff though.
Some McFarlane stuff. Yeah,
plenty of that. I've seen plenty of that. Yeah. For Mattel, not well. No, we did. We saw the He-Man figures pop up from Mattel.
Oh yes, the moldy.
So
He-Man
everybody is represented.
Okay, good.
Nobody is safe. Nobody had nobody had a perfect year. Everybody had something to throw up there. Yeah. So that's going on. I thought there was something else. Oh, very quickly, they have a standee for the next Ghostbusters movie. And did you see who's included? Which character is do you want me to spoil it for you?
Go for it. I'm going to see the standee anyway. That seems silly.
Right. So it's a lenticular standee, so like as you move, like the characters move, and right up there, fan favorite Slimer is back.
Oh.
So maybe he's just been hanging out at the firehouse this whole time. That's where he was.
Makes sense.
So I think that's fun. And that it would be great if, we've been saying that the trailer makes this seem like it's got that real Ghostbusters vibe. Wouldn't it be nice if he is similar to how he was in real Ghostbusters, where he's sort of like their pet and he communicates with them?
Nice Slimer. Like how he wound up being in Citizen Ghost, where they're like, yeah. We just keep him around.
I think
I wouldn't mind that.
That's a great direction.
I mean, that's how I see my Slimer. I don't really I've never ever seen Slimer as the villain. It's always been Slimer as
he was just
Slimer as the friend.
He's just there. he was just trying to hug Peter and he slimed him. He just didn't know how it works. He was new. He's probably a new ghost.
Right.
He didn't know how it
He
works.
was scared, interrupted getting eaten, and all of a sudden...
They're more scared of us than you are of them or whatever.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
I can't wait.
Girlfriend's not there. She's not present.
Well, that would be funny if they reference the all-female Ghostbusters. Like, I think they probably just want to pretend that didn't happen. Like, we're not gonna kick anybody when they're down. Very quickly, I had something weird happen this week with an Amazon order, where because it was my birthday, I was getting packages that I wasn't expecting. Because you can just order stuff for people and send it, and usually it'll have like a little note inside that says like this is a gift from to. So I got a box, and I thought it was a gift from my mom because she said that she was going to send me something. So I open it up, and inside is a case of Monster Energy, and then a case of it was Rockstar Energy. And then a case of Slim Fast, and my first thought is like, well, you calling me fat? What is this? Slim Fast? And then like I'm fat and lazy. I need these drinks to survive. So I'm like, okay. My first thought is this: my mom sent this to me because she said she was going to send me something. It was going to show up that day. So I'm like, I don't really want to like ask her because it's like the worst possible gift because I don't drink energy drinks, and I don't. Why would you send me Slim Fast? Like that's what are you saying here? So I like really put off asking her, but I finally, I took a picture of it and I was like, oh, is this for like late night studying? Like, just trying to be all jokey. And she's like, LOL. And eventually she, I asked her straight up, did you send this to me? And she's like, no. Okay, well, that's fine. So then I'm like, okay, well, this is a mystery. It had my name on it. It's not like it was misdelivered. It said to me.
Yeah.
So I'm the oldest of 4 children. So I asked in our group chat, I was like, hey, did anyone send this? And everyone's like, nope. So I go on Amazon chat and I say, hey, is there any way to find out who sent this to me? And they say, give us the tracking number on the front. So I give them that. And they say, do you know anyone named this? And they said the name of one of my sisters. And I was like, okay. So probably what it was is she ordered this for herself. And she chose the wrong send to address because sometimes it will auto-populate. If you've sent to someone before, it'll just keep it in there. So I'm like, okay. And I close the chat. I'm like, fine. So I go back to the sibling chat and I'm like, hey, you did order this for me. Go check your orders. And she's like, no, I promise. And she checked them and she says she checked them and she didn't order it. She's saying she didn't order it. But Amazon is saying it's coming from her. So what happened? What happened here?
Mysteries.
It's
Mysteries
a mystery.
Abound.
So it's like, I don't know. If she's claiming it's not in her, recent orders, how could that? And then she didn't order it. Yeah. It's like someone used her account. I don't know. I don't understand.
There would still be a history of the
there would be a history. There should be a history of it. So weird. It's just so weird. So if anybody knows what the deal could be, because I've heard of things where like you'll get something sent to you unsolicited. I think it's called brushing.
Oh, sure.
Where they want you to leave a review, which like why would you just think to leave a review if you just got something? But I don't think that's what's happening here. So I really don't.
Rockstar Energy really needs you to review their product. I mean,
I don't think so. I really don't think so. So I don't know what to do with this. Can you sell it? Will people buy? Can I return it to Walmart? Like, I'm sure that's not cheap.
You know what you just need to do? I mean, just go on one of the free sites on Facebook and be like, here you go for free. And you'll have a line of people.
I don't see any money from that. Why would I do that? Can I barter? Trade it?
I mean,
trade it for some
this
dinosaurs?
Is the funny thing. So one of the local free sites, it was half finished bottles of like Asian condiments, so like a half bottle of rice vinegar and a half bottle of soy sauce, and people are giving them away, and they're like, "I'll take these. I'm interested. If you do a giveaway, I'll take it." And it's like, what?
Right. Gross. I guess it's not like peanut butter where you're putting the knife back in, and maybe
right. No, I get that.
Like, it's like
no
food, untainted.
The used food, and it's just this one community site in general. They really lean heavy on the free food.
And the times are tough.
I'm always put up. I know times are tough.
You gotta tighten that belt. I get it. It's a choice between not having your soy sauce or having some used soy sauce.
Fair enough.
The choice is easy. Yeah, I think that's it. Anything else? Anything else for this big week, Bill?
No, this was too big of a week. There's too much going on.
It really was too much for 1 week. What we should have done is done 2 shows tonight, so then we don't have to record Christmas Eve next week.
Well, it's not Christmas Eve.
Oh, it's Christmas Eve.
It's Eve.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's fine then. I'll be here.
Yeah.
You'll be here, unless I fire you again for not sending me.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, you know what we say. We don't want to grow up, but we already did. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
I still wanna be a toy.